All right. We should be live. Whether that is the case is a completely different story. Oh, looks like it. As I'm pulling these chats up, I saw the other day, this weekend, I was driving on 95 and I see one of those DOT signs, the ones that they can change whenever they want. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Ones that tell you, oh, there's an accident 7 miles ahead. The right lane's going to be closed. So you can go ahead and move over. Those kind of signs. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. But it reads, America may be 250, but the speed limit is not, with the America 250 logo on it. Absolutely hilarious. It made my 3-hour drive. I'm going to be completely honest. Figured I'd bring that up. Just thought it was too good. Too good. Whoever made that sign, true patriot. True patriot. Yeah, the fiery knife, what a symbol. We'll get into that. Because we have seen a tale of 3 cities, 3 knives, and 3 different responses across Western civilization today. But we'll get into that in a little bit. It's going to be a long one today, it seems. It really does seem that today is going to be a long one. There's so much to cover, so much has happened in the last 24 hours. So we'll just jump right into it. Let me make sure I've got what I need up. I may have it all up. I may not. The world may never know. But we'll start off, actually, with the intro. We'll start off with the intro. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. This is episode number 122 of Addressing the Issues. Another, driving-related story, actually. The preface this. So yesterday, after my 100 million deportations and 1 million denaturalizations rant, I was driving home from the store, and I actually saw a Border Patrol SUV, and I was like, what a symbol. It's like, if we really wanted to, we could. We really could if we wanted to. But I don't think that we actually even care as a society, whether our country is completely infiltrated or not. I was thinking also, what if we just instituted a bounty hunter program that just rewards citizens if they do it themselves? Just say, we'll give you $500 for every one of these people you capture. Go get it done. There will be people that will be trying to max out on illegal alien captures per day. It's like it's a fishing tournament. But we really could do it if we wanted to, but either we don't want to or we're afraid. Related to that, the House has just moved forward with a $70 billion funding package for ICE and Border Patrol through the end of Trump's second term. Yeah, the end of this term, the second one. And then in another somewhat related story, it's reported by Mother Jones that the U.S. has accepted only white refugees for the 6th consecutive month. So it seems white boy summer may be officially still on for this summer. So congratulations to everybody involved. Like I said yesterday, primary elections are today. Make sure you're getting there. Get out and vote. Show up to your primaries. That's when half the decision's made. the decision whether the incumbent will remain, or you can have somebody new, someone who might represent you a little bit better. But these primary elections today are in Maine, Nevada, North Dakota, and South Carolina. So get out there and vote against Lindsey Graham. I think that's the message. And the Graham Plattner guy. Those guys just have no role in politics. They can both walk around together at Disney with Princess Bubble wands. Be a much better job for both of them. I think it's Mark Lynch in South Carolina. He needs the win. He just does. He at least has some semblance of America First instead of Lindsey Graham. Bounty hunting illegals is a novel idea, but it would create a level of lawlessness that America has never seen. Think Civil War on steroids. Well, we have bounty hunters for child predators as of right now in the U.S. At least they do it for YouTube money. Why couldn't we just allow them to stream on YouTube while they go and do this? Make their own money, just stream it, and clean up our streets. The bounty could just be saving your nation. And I think that would be enough for a lot of people. Just knowing that what you are doing is patriotic and does increase the quality of life for all other Americans. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. And I think they should be incentivized. I think you should be incentivized for bounty hunting illegal immigrants, child predators, and murderers. Actually, all criminals. If it takes a citizen to catch them, pay the citizen. We can use that from all of our foreign funding. How about that? We pull back all foreign funding and fund citizens to catch criminals in America. And just give them $500. They'll see if they can rack up a six-figure salary by the end of the year. I'm sure plenty of Americans would. We've had bounty hunters before in America, and it turned out all right. In fact, when we got rid of them, for some reason the place got worse. It's like, bring it back. Bring it back. The Wild West movies are kind of cool. Why can't we just live the Wild West? This is the West. Let's make it wild. It's already wild enough, as we'll discuss in a minute. But yeah, primary elections are today. Get out and vote. It's not too late. I think you have 2 hours before the first polls close today, so if you are still on the fence, sitting around waiting, and you live in Maine, Nevada, North Dakota, or South Carolina, pause the show, go out, vote, turn it back on later, because people who are in power right now are not representing you. So send them to the private sector. It's not a hard concept. I think we're going to talk about the tale of three cities after we talk about what's going on in the Middle East currently, and then we'll circle back around to all the knife crime and riots elsewhere, and probably riots tonight. We'll talk about all that in a minute. But around 3 today, the U.S. and possibly Gulf allies launched fighter jets as Iran has scrambled fighter jets of their own as a response to the U.S. doing so. This is a response to the U.S. AH-64 Apache helicopter that was downed near the Strait of Hormuz, reportedly by Iran last night. Now, has that been confirmed? Well, no, it hasn't. But we are apparently activating a whole bunch of aircraft as a response already. Both U.S. service members that were shot down in the Apache helicopter were reportedly rescued by a drone boat called the Corsair, built by Saronic Technologies. Pretty neat concept. An unmanned drone boat went out and rescued them. Kind of cool. Maybe keep that in the back of your mind if you're looking to invest, because I don't know that that's going to go out of style anytime soon if it's successful. Not investment advice, but you have the opportunity. I don't think that unmanned drone boats are going anywhere anytime soon, and I bet we'll be buying a lot more as a result of this. But this is as President Trump vowed that the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack by Iran. He also said, "I don't have to do anything. We hold all of the cards. I don't have to do, but look, we probably will, okay? They can't be doing that." So this seems like his response. It is unknown whether these planes went into Iran, attacked in Iran. Seemingly they would. But as of right now, Iran is denying the attack on the Apache helicopter. And my opinion is the U.S. probably needs to be pretty damn sure that it was Iran if we're going to use this as a reason for escalation. We need to be pretty sure, dig the parts up out of the sea, because Iran says it's not them. It likely could be as well, but we need to be really sure if we're going to use this as a reason for escalation, because if you don't recall, just yesterday was literally the 59th anniversary of the USS Liberty incident, in which a false flag was used to attempt to bring us into a war. And it would just be poetic justice to use the anniversary of the USS Liberty to do the same thing once again. So go find the drone and ensure that the writing is Arabic and not in Hebrew. And then from then, we go on with this, or missile, or whatever was used to attack the Apache helicopter. Figure out who it was first, because it seems that this deal that is 2 to 3 days away for the last month, it seems now, isn't going anywhere, and Israel has every reason to drag us further into this war, and the U.S. needs every reason to get out. You also have explosions reported at Erbil in Iraqi Kurdistan, which is home to major U.S. Middle East bases. None of these drones have been confirmed to have hit U.S. bases, although 4 drones have been reported to have hit the bases of the Democratic Party of Iranian Kurdistan. So those are our Kurdish allies, whatever Kurdish means, because Kurdistan is not a country, it's not a sovereign nation. It's split up between Iraq, Iran, and Turkey. It's just a people with no nation. But apparently these are the strongest allies that we have in the area, apparently. There was also 7 Air Force tankers that have been seen on flight monitoring sites, with the main cluster of these being over the Persian Gulf, which would prompt you to believe that these are being used for refueling fighter jets on their way to attacks within Iran, probably Tehran. But people have seen these. I've seen them myself on flight monitoring sites. And then the Houthis, of course, have launched another ballistic missile from Yemen. Just one more. One last time, one this time, although it failed. The missile failed before reaching Israel. So where did it land? Kind of doesn't matter, but it's something that happened. They wanted to show their solidarity once more with one missile, and they did so. As of right now, I'll check once again, but all civilian aircraft are rerouting around Iran. That is still the case. So, yeah, it seems that Iranian airspace may be very hot right now. Then you have the news out of Israel today that they are issuing warnings to the entirety of Tyre, Lebanon, including the Christian quarter, as Israel believes that Hezbollah members are hiding among them. We believe that they're hiding among you, so we are going to destroy your town. We are going to destroy the Christian quarter because we believe that Hezbollah may be hiding among you. What an excuse to just indiscriminately bomb civilians. We believe that they might be among... Then just go get them. Go get them if you want to. Don't bomb me over it. I didn't join Hezbollah. It's like them bombing the U.S. because they believe that there may be Hezbollah within the U.S. It's like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. They're not in my house. Don't blow up my place, please. But that is essentially what's been going on in the Middle East today. Is last night a U.S. Apache gets shot down. The 2 pilots are rescued by a drone boat. And now aircraft are being scrambled from seemingly all over the Middle East, and drones and missiles are being shot all over the Middle East. So that just seems to be what the ceasefire consists of today. Checking to see if there's any more news on what's been going on, because I would assume that if they were going to Tehran and surrounding cities in the middle of Iran, that, you know, in the next now to an hour from now, that's when we would start to see these strikes. But let's move on to the tale of 3 cities, 3 knives, and 3 different results, because it's almost poetic how all of this has happened within the last 24 hours. It's not a good poem, but it's poetic. So you have DeCarlos Brown, the murderer of Irina Zarutska, who is determined this morning to be incompetent to stand trial for her murder. Now, this is completely baffling. He is competent to use the subway, pull out a knife, use a train, pull out a knife, and stab a Ukrainian refugee in the neck multiple times before leaving her, walking through the train and saying, "I got that white girl." Competent enough to do that, competent enough to, walk around and use the same grocery store as you. However, is not competent to stand trial in the same court that you would if you were to have done it. If you are incompetent to stand trial in America, there needs to be an asylum for you. I hate to break it to everybody, but that's the only way we're going to stop this. It's like, if you are incompetent to stand trial, we put you in an asylum, and you can just live there until you're competent to stand trial, and then from there you can go to jail. It's that easy. Yet for some reason, we are too soft to put people in mental health facilities, which for some reason were very effective, and then we get rid of them because they're cruel. Getting stabbed to death on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina is cruel. Fleeing a war zone with the hopes of living a normal life to get stabbed to death in the neck on a train because you turned your back on DeCarlos Brown is cruel. Putting DeCarlos Brown in an insane asylum because he's incompetent to stand trial is not cruel. He is incompetent. But that's how this morning started off in the United States. Now, last night, a Sudanese migrant attempted to decapitate a white male on the streets of Belfast last night. Tried to cut his head off. The victim suffered significant injuries to his eyes, face, and back as this man tried to literally cut his head off in front of others recording on their phone from down the street, yelling at them. As a result, in Northern Ireland, the United Kingdom as a whole, mass protests are currently taking place. These protesters have been told all men aged 18 and over wear dark clothing and be prepared to fight or be arrested. All businesses must close at 5:30 p.m. tonight. No excuses. And for some reason, it's kind of justified. The UK is tired of this. They experienced literally just last week the verdict for the stabbing of Henry Nowak, who was stabbed and then left to die in police handcuffs. And then today, they wake up to videos of a seemingly what is an Irish man getting beheaded by a Sudanese guy, or at least attempting to be beheaded by a Sudanese guy. He's literally underneath the dude's legs. The dude is straddling his chest and is stabbing him in the throat. And this is what you wake up to a week after the verdict's reached for another Sikh. Well, I guess this one isn't a Sikh, this is a Sudanese. A Sikh using his ceremonial dagger to stab a teenager to death when he goes, oh, he said racial things to me, and then the kid who did nothing wrong, who got stabbed in the chest, punctured his lungs seemingly, calls out, I can't breathe, and is handcuffed and dies. Now, this is the sequence of events in the UK. Now, buses are being burned in Belfast. Protests are being reported in Glasgow, Lisburn City, among others. HMO, which stands for Houses in Multiple Occupation, which is the UK Irish property law term for a residential property rented out by at least 3 unrelated people who share facilities like a kitchen or bathroom. These that are being used to house foreign unvetted fighting age men are being burnt down in Northern Ireland right now. Literally breaking in the houses that are being used to house these migrants and burning them down, seemingly reasonably so, because there's no justification for attempting to behead someone in the street. That is no longer self-defense when you straddle them and try to cut their head off. I hate to break it to everybody. There's not much of an argument there. Once you are in the position of power, you no longer need to continue to attack and saw off their head. It makes no sense in self-defense. Like, at that point, they're done. They're compromised. You are in the position of power over them. You no longer need to remove their head from their body. But that was what was attempted to have happened in Northern Ireland last night. Today, their cities are burning down. In the U.S., in Frisco today, the Carmelo Anthony deliberations wrapped up after 3 hours, and the jury reached a verdict on the slaying of Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony was charged with the murder of Austin Metcalf today. He currently faces 5 years to life in prison. 5 years is a completely light sentence for murder, in my opinion, but apparently, at least from what I have seen, that is a punishment for murder in Texas. It's just 5 years. I can check that real quick, because that can't be right. But if it is, it is Texas. Punishment in Texas. I could only assume it would be like 20. But 5 to life, wow, first degree. That is absolutely abysmal. So he could face as little as 5 years in prison over stabbing a kid to death at a track meet. Unbelievable. That's rather frustrating, but what do you expect? And then the same people, presumably, that wanted Kyle Rittenhouse to serve life in prison for his self-defense case in Kenosha, Wisconsin, want Carmelo Anthony to be free for his self-defense case in Frisco, in which he provoked the attack, which is kind of rich, but that is the world that we live in right now. But it seems that the almost $626,000 raised for murdering a child did not help in the Help Carmelo official fund. Let's see if they've cracked 626 now. Yep, they did. $626,190 with $10 given a minute ago, $30 given 4 minutes ago, 20 more 6 minutes ago. 25, 12 minutes. The donations are still pouring in after the verdict. Apparently, they're going to try to appeal this because of the all-white jury. I guess go for it, but the evidence is pretty clear. It's pretty cut and dry that this was a murder. And the jury, whether you like their race or not, determined that it was as well. You have crowds chanting in the moments before the verdict is announced. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it now? Me too, and we got it today. We got justice. And, you know, it's kind of surprising we finally got justice for a case like this in this nation. Truly. And it's surprising for everybody because some people are surprised that it actually happened and other people are surprised that it actually happened to them. Because justice is rarely served, and when it does happen, people are up in arms yelling madness stuff, such as the Black Panthers, who showed up in full force once again today, doubling its previous membership, with a woman who probably doesn't want the race war she's trying to provoke because she couldn't run 20 feet. But she's out there yelling, this is a racist-ass country, this is a racist-ass state, this is a racist-ass court, before declaring this is a war. You're going to have to get your foot speed up. I hate to break it to you. You look like you literally are the one that gets the handicap cart at the grocery store because it's too exhausting to go fill up your cart on your own. My opinion. It just looks that way. It seems that way. But my response to your racist-ass country, court, state stuff, Carmelo Anthony is a racist-ass murderer. I said it. He's stabbed in the death because he was white. Now, if you want to use the dictionary definition of racism, it is hating someone because they are another race. That's exactly what we saw. That's exactly what we saw in this. And it sucks to say you shouldn't hate someone for being another race, but we experience it every day here in America. White people are taught to be silent about it when they are being racially attacked, saying, oh, you cannot be racist to a white person. You can. And it's experienced every single day here, and we're just taught to shut up about it. In the times past, everybody's over it. You can bring up slavery if you want, believe it or not. I've never owned a slave. I don't know that you're going to go walk out and find anybody in America who has lived here their entire life that's ever owned a slave. I know you won't actually. You may find a migrant that at one point owned a slave, because this happens in third world countries, at least up until roughly 15 years ago. So maybe if you asked a migrant, you could find one. But if you ask any American who's lived here their entire life, you're not going to find one. So stop bringing that up. Sorry. It's a dead argument. Like, we don't bring up the barber wars. Talking about racial inequity. And the barbers were literally abducting U.S. servicemen to sell them as slaves. You want to bring that part up? If we want to go back, you want to go back that far? But I'm not going to be surprised when we see probably riots before the weekends. Probably tonight this starts. You already have the Dallas-Fort Worth area preparing for riots tonight. And the difference in this is we're more likely to see riots tonight because the justice system worked effectively. Like, just once. Like, the justice system works effectively for once. And we're going to see riots because justice is served. If Carmelo Anthony was only charged with manslaughter or was acquitted of his crimes, I don't think we would have seen riots in the street. Yet we should have. We definitely should, because justice isn't being served in this nation. But because justice is served once, and we're so surprised and appalled that it could happen to me, now we're going out and rioting. Now we're going to go out and loot. Now we're going to go out and try and burn down towns, burn down cities. Because we are so shocked and appalled that for one time in like multiple years that justice is actually served. Like, we should be rioting because DeCarlos Brown, I believe that's his name, yeah, because he was found incompetent to stand trial. That's what the riot should be about. That he can walk as a free man after stabbing a woman trying to live a free and safe life out of a war zone as a refugee, stabbing her to death on a train. That's what the riot should be about. It shouldn't be about that you're surprised that for once in your life you see the justice system working. It shouldn't be a surprise, yet it is. It's because we have these terrible judges funded by, you guessed it, George Soros. And this is what they do. They say, oh, well, we need racial equity in the courtroom, and because we haven't had any white murderers, we can't charge any black murderers. And it's like, okay. They're just incompetent. We'll let them walk. We're just so used to seeing the justice system failing. Like this morning with Irina Zarutska. Her murder by DeCarlos Brown. We're so used to seeing it fail. And criminals are let off the hook time and time again. I forget how many arrests DeCarlos Brown has, where he's been put in rehabilitation facilities that are like owned by a relative of the judge who has been his judge like almost every single time. But people like this are let off time and time again, and the system isn't working, and then it works just once. Like, works as it's intended, and we're in shock. Americans are in shock. The horror of somebody going to jail for committing murder. The horror. Absolute tragedy in the American court system. A criminal goes to jail. Imagine. It doesn't work. The system doesn't work because criminals are going in jail. No, it doesn't work because they aren't. Yet the one time it actually works effectively, there's shock. There's shock as to how somebody could be held accountable for the crimes they commit. But yeah, 3 different cities, 3 different knives, 3 different attacks, 3 different results. And it pains me to say that the UK looks like the most proper nation as a result of these. They are outraged because justice isn't being served. Here in America, we're complacent with it not being served. We're actually outraged when it is. And that's a sad commentary. That's a sad commentary on our justice system, especially when it looks like the UK's might actually be more effective. And it's like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're going to see riots tonight. I'd say it's more likely than not. I mean, you look at New York City last night. They were rioting because the Knicks lost a sports ball game. Literally rioting. One man walking around on video attacking anybody he could see in Spurs apparel. In New York City just last night alone, 21 people taken into custody, 8 arrested and charged, 13 people are summoned to court, 5 officers are injured, and this is over a sports ball game. I mean, absolutely chimping out that the Knicks lost. That's what happened here. Imagine the horror. Imagine we saw the chimping out already, and the verdict hadn't even been read yet. It was happening all day today where black people were trying to provoke white people into attacking them, getting in their face, dancing in their grill, literally jumping up and down, trying to provoke white people into attacking them, hollering in their face. I mean, just full-blown chimping out. And the verdict hadn't even been read yet. And then when it does, you think it's going to get any better? You think when they're shocked that justice is served, it's going to get any better? I hate to tell you it's not. I think we're in for the worst tonight, possibly even tomorrow night, as people get bussed into Texas, more than likely. Probably literally bussed into Texas to go riot in the streets of a city, as we've seen before, as we saw with the fentanyl addict George Floyd. People bust in to riot and loot cities. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again tonight. I truly wouldn't. This is nothing new. O.J. Simpson murdered Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman. He was found not guilty because a cop had used the N-word and lied about it. Yeah. I mean, our justice system is broken here. Because the people who are guilty of crimes, I guess not found guilty yet, who have done crimes are not found guilty or not punished or ruled incompetent to stand trial, our new favorite use of judges' powers. It's like, oh, you're not guilty to stand trial. Have the state pay for you to come to my sibling, my relative's rehab clinic, and then we'll let you out in a couple of days and you'll be free to walk the street. And then whenever you want to, you can go stab Irina Zarutska in a train car. I mean, I don't know why we're surprised when you provoke an attack at a track meet because you won't leave when you're asked, and then you stab a kid to death. I don't know why you're surprised that you face the consequences. Anybody else would expect to face the consequences, except for, apparently, Carmelo Anthony and his supporters of the Black Panthers and possibly paid antagonists. I hope the people there are not dumb enough to do that for free. I truly do. Because you're making a fool out of yourself. Going over there yelling, trying to incite violence before the verdict's even read. You're trying to incite violence over a case that is so cut and dry that it took 3 hours. 3 hours? I expected 30 minutes. It's not like there was 3 days of deliberations. It took 3 hours. They could choose between acquittal, manslaughter, and murder. They said it's cut and dry murder. We all agree. And that is the justice system working. Texas Rangers will not be as tolerant as those pansies in Minnesota, just saying. Aren't the Texas Rangers the one team that won't do Pride Night either? No, I'm kidding. That's a baseball joke. But I think that is true as well. I mean, nobody should be as tolerant as Minnesota is to crime in their city. Nobody should be. Nobody should be as tolerant as Chicago, tolerant as New York City, tolerant as Charlotte. Yet, for some reason, these liberal hellholes, which we call cities, are so tolerant to racial violence if it goes one way, as opposed to just crime in general. I mean, just prosecute the criminals. It's not hard. It's not hard. It doesn't matter if you got that white girl, if you stabbed Whitey. I mean, you shouldn't be heralded as a hero for your crimes, no matter who it's done to, who you are, whether you have the Black Panthers supporting you outside the courthouse or not. Like, crime is crime and should be punished as crime. And I still can't get over how people were surprised at, for once, possibly in my lifetime, the justice system works out and justice is served. And for some reason, we're on the verge of burning down cities later, probably. And it's not like justice wasn't served, so you're going out and doing it. Like in the UK, it's that, and I believe that will go to trial. They're just really tired of their migrant invasion. But in the US, people are also tired of hate crimes. And they go one way, and it's not the way the media, particularly the liberal media, portrays it. I hate to burst everybody's bubble. That's just, I mean, why are you surprised that the court system worked? You're so surprised that you're going to chimp out and burn down your city. Why? Do you think Mangione will be convicted of murder, or will he get off? Wasn't that in New York City? Ooh. That's a good question. Because I've heard that there are some chain of custody issues with some of the evidence. I have also would be really cognizant of who is selected for that jury pool. Because if you have a girl my age who's a liberal, you're not going to get a unanimous verdict. You just won't. Like, they love that murderer. They think, like, true crime is hot for some reason. They have like a Charles Manson disorder, like a Manson family disorder, where it's like, oh, breaking the law is so hot. So they're going to have to be really careful with who they put as the jury, who they select. Because if you get a younger person, particularly a gruntled female, about, how she needs to be more feminist and the world's stacked against females and there's inequities in healthcare for females, and you're not going to get a unanimous verdict, and he'll walk. Now, if you can vet out those types, you've got a chance. But I would put it at 50-50 that Luigi Mangione's charged, and we all saw him do it on camera. It may not have been 4K, it was a little bit closer to the 360p, but we all saw it happen. But it seems that everybody wants him to walk because they do not like the insurance industry. They think it scams people. They think it ruins lives, much like what made Mangione so disgruntled. Do I think he murdered him? Yes, I watched it on camera. Do I think that he will be charged? That's less likely. So that's where I stand on that one. He should absolutely be charged. I watched it on camera. He's a murderer. Will it happen? That's a completely different question. Because we are very, very used to the court systems not working as intended, where justice is not served, and we get so complacent with justice never being served that we lose our shit at a cut and dry murder trial in Frisco, Texas. And that's the state of our justice system. We expect the person to be let off because they're deemed incompetent, yet for some reason, every time they're competent enough to kill somebody, they know exactly what they're doing when they're stabbing at somebody's neck, when they're stabbing somebody in the chest. Absolutely competent at that point, trying to cut somebody's head off. They know what they're doing then. When it's time to appear in front of a court, for some reason they don't know what they're doing anymore. They never knew what they were doing. We'll just put them in my siblings, my relatives' rehab facility and let them out in a couple of days, and then they can do it again. And I don't know, you may wonder why I have no faith in the justice system, but it's exactly that. It's that we are so used to seeing it fail that when it happens, it is a surprise to everybody, including those who justice is served upon. It's like, why did it work this time? And I mean, it's like that for every case. It's like that for every case, it seems. But I think that's all we have for the tale of 3 cities, 3 knives, and probably just 2 riots. Just 2. One for taking their country back from invaders in the UK, and one from people that are surprised and disgruntled that for one time in their lifetime the justice system worked as intended. And I mean, we should do better in the US. It should work every time. The criminal should be behind bars, and those who are innocent should walk. And those who are incompetent to stand trial should be in an asylum. I just fixed it. Okay. We have some updates on the Middle East situation. So it's being claimed that the U.S. has hit IRGC infrastructure across 6 sites. You have the Sirik and Jask naval bases, an air defense position at Bandar Abbas, which is one of the disputed islands, missile positions at Manab and Keshim's commercial port. So it seems that a rather large-scale attack is taking place by U.S. forces, possibly a coalition across Iran right now. Let's see if there's anything else I can find on this. That may be all the news we'll get. These are called self-defense strikes after the downing of the Apache helicopter. So it seems we dove in head first once again, possibly attacking 6 sites. And, you know, did we care to confirm that the Apache thing wasn't a false flag? Well, there's no need. Let's just hop right into it. Let's see. I'll read that in a second. Here's another interesting development. NORTHCOM, U.S. Northern Command, announced that all efforts to address mass migration, trafficking, smuggling, and other criminal activity will now fall under Operation Ardent Vanguard. Rather interesting development. Does that mean the military can strike these people? That the military can get involved? with mass migration, with smuggling. They've already been involved with smuggling, other criminal activity, speeding, maybe a Tomahawk missile for speeding illegal immigrants, maybe. Sounds cool. Imagine you're driving down the street and like one of those like blade missiles comes and like hits the dude next to you because he's been smuggling people across the Mexico border along with fentanyl. And you're just like, oh, nice. Let's go. We got another one. Shout out Northcom. That's an interesting development. I don't know if that'll have any real effect on smuggling, human trafficking, illegal immigration, other crimes. I don't know if it will, but hopefully. Those who are incompetent should be institutionalized prior to murdering someone. How should we determine who gets institutionalized to prevent crime? Well, you can't do it the Canada way, obviously, because they are institutionalizing people for thought crime, like full 1984 style. But I feel like there are signs that someone's going to do crimes like this, like kleptomania, maybe. We start looking into why you steal instead of go get a job and pay for your own things. And maybe have a psychologist looking at that. But you can't have like people looking in the people for speech. You have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom to steal. If you get caught, doing drugs, are you under psychosis? You are free to, like I said, you are free to have freedom of speech. You're not free to do illicit substances. Maybe you see somebody harming animals. You're not free to do that in America either. That is not covered under your constitutional rights. And you look into these people, it's like, why are you doing this? Why is this happening? But I don't know that you can do it before they've committed a crime. Typically, this is discovered when they are doing a crime. They go, oh, the voices were telling me to tie my dog up and let it die in a hurricane. And then from there you go, okay, so the voice is right. You're going to the asylum. And there's nothing you can do about it at this point. It's either that or you're going to be charged and you're going to spend your time in prison. But there's no more of this pleading mentally insane. Like, we can't have that in a functioning society. Like, using your insanity as a get out of jail free card to walk around among people who are just trying to perform everyday tasks of their life. And as a result, one day you're sitting on a subway train and you're getting stabbed in the neck. And you're like, why is this person behind me doing this? And it's like, oh, because they're mentally unfit to stand trial, so they get to walk among you. It's like, no, you don't have that right anymore. You lose that right. When you're declared mentally unfit to stand trial, you lose your right to walk among the public. And you go to an asylum. And until a doctor says you are healed, that you have fixed your mental disability, you'll be there. And it can be forever long, and then once that happens, you can then go stand trial. But there is no more letting people walk free. We can't have that anymore yet. We'll continue to do it. We'll continue to let people walk free. We will continue to let people commit crimes and walk free and then be declared mentally incompetent for trial and then do the same thing again until it gets to the point where they stab somebody to death on a train. Until they douse somebody with gasoline and light them on fire on a subway. Until they pour acid on somebody in a park. We'll just let that continue to happen. And then when that happens, it goes, oh, they're just insane again. The same deal as last time. It started, the voices were telling them to steal, but now the voices are telling them to dump acid on somebody in a park. It's like, if you are mentally incompetent to stand trial for any of your crimes, you go to the asylum. And then once you are released, you stand trial for your crimes. There is no time served in an asylum. It's not the prison system. And then we fix this problem. Because nobody's going to actively want to be in an asylum and then have to go serve their time. They'll say, you know what, just give me the verdict, put me in prison, I'll change my ways, I'm done being crazy. But if they can't fix that, then they're just stuck there, and it sucks. But it's a necessary evil. It just is. Yeah, Belfast is an absolute zoo. The Irish are kind of awesome. They don't put up with this crap. Like, they're just kind of awesome. They've literally fought their entire lives against the British. And now they're being invaded by a migrant class who thinks that they can treat them as actual garbage, and they're not putting up with it. They're tired. I mean, hopefully, eventually, they'll figure this out. They'll stand up for long enough that there's actual change. I don't know that it will happen. I'm maybe wishful thinking. But if anybody can do it, it's the Irish. The Americans can do it as well. We could. We really could. I think we've all heard of the IRA. Like, pretty crazy people, but they got their point across. They did. The Americans did that against Britain themselves 250 years ago. I don't know where we lost it along the way. Giving up our rights every election year, I guess, is where we lost it. Selling out to a central bank. I guess that's where we lost it along the way. Getting it intertwined with foreign actors that don't have our best interests in mind. Maybe that is something else that's contributed. But we could also just say, we're tired of it and get out to our primaries and vote out all these people that are establishment and allow the status quo to continue. We could literally just do that. We could literally just elect people that represent us as constituents as opposed to foreign dollars and super PACs. We could. Will we ever? No, because we'd much rather just be brainwashed by whatever the media tells us. Like, we can literally just do things. But we decide not to. We choose not to. We're going to check one last time before we wrap up. Let's see what else is happening in Texas. What else is happening? Yeah. Irish are throwing bricks and construction materials at the police. Like, they're just kind of sick. And they have every reason to do so. They're tired of it. They have to put up with this stuff. Their government doesn't represent them. And they just go out and do it. They've done it for a long time. Kuwait and Qatar have closed their airspace. That's a new development. Alongside the strikes, which are continuing. Major hub for international air traffic in Qatar. Yeah, it seems people are still spazzing out in the parking lot of the courthouse. Just still chimping out. What do you expect? This source says things are calm, but the video I just watched wasn't. Maybe it was older. I'm not reading that. But yeah, that seems to be the state of affairs currently. With both the Middle East, with all three. Charlotte, where nothing will happen for justice for Irina Zarutska. Belfast, where they're seeking justice for the invasion of their nation. And Frisco, where they are surprised that justice was served, so they will go burn down their cities. A tale of 3 knife attacks. Three different results. It's just a crazy day in the world of knives and riots. We're going to move on to the good news today. I actually picked a section that relates to something that was being said as a result of the Carmelo Anthony verdict. So there was a woman that was seen in the middle of the road yelling that both sides should surrender their lives to Jesus Christ. Well, they're in front of the courthouse, yelling at both the white people and the Black Panthers, just one after another. But I found a verse that relates to justice for us. Actually, more than a verse, an entire chapter. We're going to be looking at Proverbs 21 today. Before we go into this, make sure you guys are dropping a like, subscribing, following on Kick and Rumble, subscribing on YouTube, sharing the show. Yeah, I'd really appreciate all that. We're going to hop right into Proverbs 21. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He directs it like a watercourse wherever he pleases. All a man's ways seem right to him, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do what is right and just is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the lamp of the wicked are sin. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. A fortune made by a lying tongue is fleeting vapor and a deadly snare. The violence of the wicked will drag them away, for they refuse to do what is right. The way of the guilty is devious, but the conduct of the innocent is upright. Better to live on the corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. The wicked man craves evil, his neighbor gets no mercy from him. When a mocker is punished, the simple gain wisdom. When a wise man is instructed, he gets knowledge. The righteous one takes note of the house of the wicked, and brings the wicked to ruin. If a man shuts his ears to the cry of the poor, he too will cry out and not be answered. A gift given in secret soothes anger, and a bribe concealed in the cloak pacifies great wrath. When justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terror to evildoers. A man who strays from the path of understanding comes to rest in the company of the dead. He who loves pleasure will become poor. Whoever loves wine and oil will never be rich. The wicked become a ransom for the righteous, and the unfaithful for the upright. Better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome and ill-tempered wife. In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a foolish man devours all he has. He who pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor. A wise man attacks the city of the mighty and pulls down the stronghold in which they trust. He who guards his mouth and his tongue keeps himself from calamity. The proud and arrogant man, mocker is his name. He behaves with overweening pride. The sluggard's craving will be the death of him, because his hands refuse to work. All day long he craves more, but the righteous give without sparing. The sacrifice of the wicked is detestable. How much more so when brought with evil intent? A false witness will perish, and whoever listens to him will be destroyed forever. A wicked man puts up a bold front, but an upright man gives thought to his ways. There is no wisdom, no insight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests with the Lord. Figured this would be a good one today. There's a few verses I want to point out. One being the first one. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He directs it like a water course wherever he pleases. This relates to government, how the Lord works through governments that are apparently instituted by men. However, they are generally pointed to the law within the Bible, at least derived from them. Now they become corrupt. That is just a symptom of sin, but the Lord still works through these. We listen to many of his teachings in government. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not bear false witnesses. Those are part of our justice system in which the Lord has instituted. Another one. When justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terror to the evildoers. Think about who is happy today. The people that are happy are the ones today that appreciate when justice is served in our nation. The people who are angry, terrified by justice being served, literally at the same place, are evildoers. It's that simple. It says it. There was one more. A wise man attacks the city of the mighty and pulls down the stronghold in which they trust. Now, you see that playing out in two different ways today, which is kind of interesting. But you see it in Belfast. You may see it in Texas later, in U.S. cities. What was the other one I wanted to look at? Oh, it was the last verse. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests with the Lord. None of this matters if we don't trust the Lord, if we don't believe in the Lord. We'll never have justice. The Lord loves justice. The righteous love justice. The wicked hate it. So look at how people react to justice, and you can determine a lot about them. You can determine whether they're good or evil, whether they worship crime or they worship justice. The Lord chooses justice. He doesn't choose evil doing for us. He wants us to seek justice on this earth. Justice is the way of the Lord. Crime isn't, wrongdoing isn't, evil doing isn't. But people will call out in their evil doing Jesus' name, invoke him with their evil doing, and that's demonic. It's evil. And we're seeing that today take place in Texas. We're seeing people invoke Jesus' name on the side of evil. And it makes you wonder, how much do they believe in the word of the Lord? Why would you invoke him in your evil doing? He wants justice. He seeks justice for us, for his creation here, his creation which is humanity. He wants us to seek justice for ourselves, but he is appeased by justice. He doesn't want us to wrong each other. We still choose to do so because of sin, but that disappoints him. Sin disappoints him. I just figured, that chapter of Proverbs is pretty relevant today. I was about to say prevalent. It's always prevalent, but pretty relevant today. We need to seek justice. And through choosing to not seek justice, we can see why our society is surrounded by sin, surrounded by evil, like all encompassed by it, honestly. We need to choose to seek justice. We can't keep putting it off, saying they're incompetent to seek justice. They're incompetent to face justice. I mean, we can't have that anymore. It leads to a sinful country, a sinful society, a society which thinks that they can trick God. We're not tricking him. We're not. He sees what we're doing. He watches us. He watches us stray. He still chases us even while we're straying. He's still chasing. He's still pursuing us as humans. Yet we continue to stray into our sinfulness more and more and get confused as to why these things happen in our country, why we're shocked that people would actually face justice, because it's such a turn from the normalcy of sin which we are surrounded by. We're shocked when people are found incompetent to stand trial because we are sinful as a society in which we've allowed justice to be fleeting. We need justice served. The book says it itself. The truth says it itself. And we're, for some reason, have either strayed too far from the Lord, are too invested in our own sin, or just unwilling to serve the Lord. Just strayed too far away. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's sin the condition or sin the symptom that's caused this. I guess it's the condition, but we are seeing the symptoms, and it is injustice in our country. And surprise when justice is served. That is the condition. The condition is sin. The symptoms are a society which cannot comprehend justice. Society which no longer serves the Lord. Those are the symptoms. But we need to fix ourselves. We need to come back to the Lord ourselves. Come back to Jesus. And then from there, we can start working on our justice system. We can start working on our political system. But until we understand what God wants from us, we'll never have a perfect country. We'll never have a perfect country in general. Sin will continue to attempt to creep in. We'll never have perfect, but we could try a lot better. We could try a lot harder. And the first step is surrendering our lives to Jesus. But that's, I think, all we'll have for today. Once again, make sure you guys are dropping a like, subscribing on YouTube, following on Kick and Rumble, following on multiple platforms if you really want to. Help me out. Sharing the episode, but most importantly, you guys that stopped by the day, watched the show after, you all that stuck around till the end, really appreciate that. Let's see. Making sure that we didn't miss anything too big. We missed a little bit today, but it's nothing we can't go back tomorrow. There's just too much going on with these knife attack stories. Cities burning down, cities threatened to be burned down. The U.S. retaliating over the Apache that was allegedly shot down by Iran, but allegedly wasn't shot down by Iran. Schrodinger's Apache helicopter. Yeah, I think we've got it all. So we'll wrap up here. I should be back tomorrow. I'm still planning the interview for later this week. Hopefully we'll have that guest episode up this weekend. If not, it may be next weekend. But I think we're both pretty on board with doing the guest episode. It should be a cool one. I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but I don't think you'll want to miss it. But yeah. I'm going to check one more thing before we go. Before I sign off. Okay. Yeah. Let's check one last time. Have they determined the sentence? Apparently the sentencing was supposed to be today, but it doesn't look like it's came out yet, which kind of surprises me. But yeah, we'll call it here. Maybe we'll start off with that tomorrow. To my people on the East Coast, I hope you get home safe. To my people further west, I hope you finish up your workday strong and get home safe as well. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode today. Make sure you're dropping a like, following, subscribing, sharing the channel. But most importantly, thank y'all for sticking around till the end. And I guess I'll talk to you all very, very soon. See y'all.